Welcome to the Betting Above the Rim podcast. Today's date, October 28th, episode 91. In today's podcast, we get into 5 topics fresh off of news from Shams Charania about the injury to Steph Curry. We'll talk about him missing both games this week for the Golden State Warriors and how does it impact the Warriors team that is 2-1 to start the season. Next, 2 teams that haven't won a game as of time of recording, which is Monday afternoon. We look at Sacramento and we look at Denver. And I give you, out of those 2 teams, which team I would, as a coach, be pushing the panic meter. Next, we preview games to be played on Tuesday, Wednesday. We're looking at a bunch of games, 6 of them total. We'll take a look at the Mavericks at the T-Wolves, look at the Pelicans at the Warriors, Lakers undefeated versus at the Cavs. Let's see how the Cavs are. They played tonight against the Knicks. 3-0 Celtics at Indiana. Knicks, Heat, always a rivalry game. And then Spurs versus Oklahoma City Thunder. Last topic in the NBA, I told you I would do it. My top 10 players for this upcoming NBA season. And you may be surprised. There's some young guys that are making moves and some older guys that have moved down. And there could be one that you may all disagree with that I don't have in my top 10. Now, in ending in the WNBA, we'll talk about the situation that's become really fluid with the Indiana Fever. Yesterday, Christie Sides decides to part ways, and I made a calculation and talked about on the Sports Grid app about who I thought could be the coach, and literally right after I said it, Stephanie White is stepping down from Connecticut. I'll talk about the impact of not just those 2 ladies, but the rosters and why one team is ascending and another team that's been a really championship level team could be in trouble. Let's begin in the NBA with the news that came out literally in the last couple hours where Steph Curry is going to be out for 2 games where a perineal strain and will be evaluated again on Friday. Perineal strain, guys, is basically an overstretching of the ligament of the ankle. It's basically a version of an ankle sprain. Just a fancy word. And when you look at a team like Golden State, a team that, I wasn't really particularly high on coming into the year, not so much I wasn't high on the team, it's just the fact that division is so tough. They got off to a good start. Now, granted, they should be 3-0. I mean, first game at Portland, 140-104. Second game at Utah, 127-86. But then losing the game to LA when, of course, you did get Steph Curry, obviously, getting injured and now being out for the rest, I would say probably the rest of the week, if not into next week, depending on what they say in regards to the reevaluation. So what has gone right for Golden State so far is the play of Andrew Wiggins. And Andrew Wiggins that was awful last year. Andrew Wiggins that I question how much he was in shape. But Andrew Wiggins that I feel in my heart, when he's engaged, gotta remember, folks, he was the number 1 draft pick for a reason. And he was such a critical part of what the Warriors did in that championship a couple of seasons ago. So to me, him getting a 19.7, 6.7, 2.3 is really good. Now, obviously, a small sample size, but 58% from three-point line is absolutely fantastic. I doubt he keeps it up. But if you are Golden State and you're getting him at about 15, 16 points a game, that is something that you're going to need because you're going to need another score. Speaking of another score, the play of Bad Buddy. When you looked at this team, they had to do something to improve their bench play. And getting Buddy Hield, who was a bona fide sniper, is really doing well. 19 points per game, shooting 52% from 3. Listen, folks, this team is shooting 38% from 3. And basically, out of its 8 combined made threes by Wiggins and Hield. If you look at this team, those are good signs. They needed those guys to be better. Well, what is the concern with Golden State, if you have any? Steph's, 18.3. I'm not really concerned about Steph. He's going to come along. Jonathan Kuminga, only 8 points a game earlier in the season. Only playing 19, 20 minutes a game. So I think when you look at someone like Kuminga, this is something that we were really expecting them to take the next step. So they really need Jonathan Kuminga to step up and step up big time. Podziemski, who, people thought, hey, we can get rid of Klay Thompson, we can let him go. Podziemski steps into the starting lineup, or not in the starting lineup because he isn't, and he's only giving you 6 points a game. The one big one, obviously, folks, is going to be Draymond. Draymond's already got his tech. He's giving you 4.3 points per game, 4.3 rebounds at 22.3 minutes. That's a concern. Because you worry about when this window closed, and I said it closed last year, what are you going to get out of Draymond? He's got his money. Is he going to be engaged? Draymond's got to be better, and not just a leader, but his play on the court. Lastly, really quick, a sneaky good acquisition, the guy that I've always been a big fan of is slow-mo Kyle Anderson. Kyle Anderson right now is giving you 3 points a game. He's a cerebral player. They got to get this going. I know they're 2-1, but folks, if you really, really think about it, they beat the 2 worst teams in the Western Conference, in Portland and Utah. And they lost to who I think could be the 3rd worst team, especially right now with the Clippers. We'll see what happens. By the time Steph may get back, New Orleans, Tuesday. We're talking about a little bit. New Orleans, Wednesday. That's a back-to-back, both in New Orleans. And then Houston at Houston on Saturday. 2 teams that are really high up on. I am high on the Pelicans and the Rockets. This team could go from 2-0 to 2-4 really quick. And next week, they got to go on the road to Boston, Cleveland, Oklahoma City, and then follow up with Dallas and Memphis at home. Yikes. Speaking of teams in the Western Conference, 2 teams that have not gotten off the good starts are the Sacramento Kings and the Denver Nuggets. When you look at a team like Sacramento, yes, they're 0-2 in the Pacific, but if you really look at it, they lost to the T-Wolves by 2, in which Anthony Edwards hit 2 free throws in the last, 15, 20 seconds. And a game that went down to the last minute in a loss to the Lakers, 131-127, against a Lakers team that's playing better basketball than I think most people would have expected to start off the year. So I'm not going to sit there and panic too much with regards to the Sacramento Kings. Why? Because of the roster they've built, for the chemistry that they have, my belief in Mike Brown and what he does as a head coach. That split screen action is a bear to deal with, and I think they have the depth. So that leads me to the team I'm really concerned with, and that's Denver. A Denver Nuggets team that got bludgeoned opening night. And then the second game, losing to the Clippers. When you look at this team, obviously you know about the play of Nikola Jokic. We're never going to bring up the Joker and bring up problems with Denver. 28.5, 10.5, 8.5 assists, 2 steals and a block. I can't complain about that. Jamal Murray, 17 points, 4.5 assists. Listen, Jamal Murray's, shooting at 45.5% from 3. I'm not mad, right? Christian Brown, I'm not the biggest fan of his, but he's giving you 13.5, so I can't be mad at him. Why am I concerned with Denver? Number one, they can't shoot worth a damn. 28.8% from 3 so far at the beginning of the year. Michael Porter Jr. is getting you 18.8% from 3. That's your shooter. But then it goes deeper than that. Aaron Gordon just got an extension. He's giving you 11 and 7. Okay, so Aaron Gordon's never going to be the guy that's going to light the world on fire in regards to scoring. But Aaron Gordon's got to get you more than 11 points a game. Okay? And he's got to shoot it better from 36.4% from the floor. But here is the problem that I have with this team, and I told you they were going to go under their win total. It's their bench. Russell Westbrook, phenomenal career. Hall of Famer. I think Russ is done. Russ can't shoot. Russ needs the ball in his hands, and Denver needs someone that can space the floor. Hello? Bad mix. They took the guy because of what's on the back of his jersey, the name, and not on the basketball card for what he is. Then you look at the fact of, Dario Saric is a good pro, right? Been around for a long time. But to me, it's about who they don't have. KCP, they miss. They miss KCP. That's a 40% shooter from three. That's a strong defender on the wing. But it also allowed Christian Brown to come off the bench, which what does that do? It lengthens your team. How about Bruce Brown? What a job he did in that championship run. Bruce Brown is someone that could be a point forward, kind of a Swiss Army knife. Can do it different ways. They have not replaced that. They haven't replaced the leadership of Jeff Green. And then you got to look at the fact that they lost Deron Holmes in the first quarter of the first Summer League game. Deron Holmes had a date, and I thought was going to be a really good pro. So when you look at the fact of their lack of depth, their lack of shooting, and the fact that they're in a loaded Western Conference, I mean, how much in trouble is Denver? I mean, they're folks, I don't know. I'm going to say something here that maybe it's going to be a hot take. Does Denver even make the top six? Because you figure Oklahoma City and Minnesota are going to definitely come out of there in the top six, right? I still tell you that I do not have concerns with Sacramento. I think they're going to be fine. Lakers are off to a hot start. Suns are 2-1. Grizzlies, who I told you was being good, are 2-1. Pelicans, who I told you were being good, are 2-1. Oh, they had a rough loss last night at Portland. Denver's in trouble, folks. And they got to find a way to turn this around quick, particularly the shooting. And then you look at their schedule coming up. They get a little bit of a break for a little bit, right? At Toronto Monday night should be a win. At Brooklyn next night, back-to-back. I mean, Brooklyn turned around and beat Milwaukee last night, so we'll see. At Minnesota, going to be tough. Home Utah should be a win. Home Toronto should be a win. And then here comes the run. Home Oklahoma City, home Miami, home Dallas, at New Orleans, at Memphis, versus Dallas, at LA, home New York. They better stack those wins when they need to get them. Otherwise, the Denver Nuggets are going to be in a world of trouble. Let's move on to the NBA and games that are going to be played Tuesday and Wednesday night, and things that I want you guys as the audience to be looking for. Let's start off with Dallas versus Memphis. And this matchup is one that's very, very intriguing to me because, number one, I'm a big believer in Minnesota, and I'm not the biggest believer in Dallas. Now, you have to remember, folks, Dallas is going to be coming off of a back-to-back. Dallas plays tonight versus Utah as heavy favorites. But then they have to turn around and travel. And I hate this whole thing of traveling and going on the road versus a team that has a rest advantage. Right now, Lions and FanDuel have Minnesota minus 3.5 points, over-unders at 225. Obviously, Lions will move by the time we get to morning. I like Minnesota in this game. I think they have their tough loss already. I think Anthony Edwards is playing at such a high level. I think the Lakers are maybe better than what we thought. Simply put, because J.J. Redick's a better coach than Darvin Ham. Let's just call it what it is right off the bat. Just putting Rui Hachimura in the starting lineup, but that's a story for another day. But I like Minnesota here because of the fact of the fact that Dallas is going to be on the second leg, go back-to-back, and has to travel to Minnesota. The only way you can think this could be more competitive is Dallas has to blow this game out early to give particularly Kyrie and Luka rest in the fourth quarter. Second game to look at is New Orleans at Golden State. When you look at this matchup, it's simply put, and lines are not out right now for this game on Tuesday night because they got to figure out what to do with the Steph angle. Pelicans are 2-1. They lost last night at Portland. Bad, like by 20 plus. I assume the line will probably be 5.5, 4.5, 5.5 in New Orleans' favor. I do like, New Orleans' favor. So I do like New Orleans. I do think this team is really, really good. Now, listen, not losing to DeJounte Murray is going to hurt them. But you do realize you can slide C.J. McCollum over to the point. You know, Trey Murphy III can get busy. Look at a guy like a Jordan Hawkins as a shooter, as a guy that I think is going to start to come into his own this year. So I want you to start looking at Hawk a little bit and what he can do. So just take a look at that. I think it's going to be pretty close. But C.J. McCollum, I would look at Trey Murphy III, and then I would look at, obviously, Hawk, and I would look at the Pelicans getting the win on the road. Next big matchup, L.A. Cleveland on Wednesday. Listen, I just said it. Darvin Ham had to go. And the job that J.J. Redick, watching film in a car wash, it's funny. Like, it's like film in a car wash. Like, folks, that's a coach. I mean, I can't tell you when I coach all the places that I watched film. I mean, from in bed to, in meetings to, you know what, I'm not even going to go into all the places I watch film because some of them may not be appropriate. You get my point. You're a coach. You're always trying to coach. But what I really like what I've seen out of the Lakers. I got to give them credit. I got to give them credit. First thing he did off the bat is he put Rui in the starting lineup. And simply put, they're just a better team of Rui as a starter. I also think what it also does is when you put AD at the 5, it's a problem. It's a problem. But a secretly good Gabe Vincent, Matt Christie, Dalton Connect, Jackson Hayes second group, who's just pretty darn good. Like, the Lakers kind of have some depth. Simply put, can the Lakers shoot the ball? They're going against Cleveland, which y'all know I'm all on the Kenny Atkinson tree. Let's see how they come at it today with their game versus New York tonight. And then they'll obviously be home for the Lakers. And when you look at Cleveland, it's honestly the play of Evan Mobley. I said to people, the thing that's great about Kenny Atkinson is his ability to develop young talent, right? Evan Mobley's giving you 18, 9.3. He's coached Jared Allen before, 18, 7.7. Donovan Mitchell, ready? Only 23.3 points per game. So more guys are getting involved. They're getting really good play out of Ty Jerome at 13.7 points per game. You know, I'm gonna take the Cavs here. I think the Cavs have something going here. I said they're gonna win the division. Hint. I told you Milwaukee's in trouble and Giannis is already bitching. So to me, I think you look at Cleveland taking this game. When you get to the last 3 games, and I just want to kind of run through them quickly. Boston, Indiana. Folks, whoever is playing some of these teams, you got to look at like the matchups, right, and how they guard. When you look at the Pacers at 1-2, they just gave up a 40-piece to Tyrese Maxey. You look at the Knicks game, where they gave up 123, and Jalen Brunson only played 30 minutes at 26 points. You look at even the opening game season, their win over Detroit, a 115-109 game, and Kate Cunningham got 28. So where am I going? A guard who gets the ball in his hands a lot should give them trouble. So now you're like, well, it can't be. Is it Jaylen Brown? Because if you really think about JB is a 2 guard, right? The guy's Derek White. Derek White's getting 20 points per game so far to start this season. They got 3 guys. They got Tatum getting 33, Brown getting 24/7, White getting 20. If you think about the matchup tonight that they have versus Boston, okay, and by the time people will see this, hear this, this will be Tuesday morning. But I just want people to give people some context here, right? Derek White's points prop is 16.5. If they hang that 16.5 again versus Indiana, who plays no goddamn defense, especially Halliburton, run to the window. Derek White, if that points prop is 16.5, go to the window and take it because that team struggles defensively. Last 2, New York, Miami. I mean, simply put, New York's defense was piss poor opening night. They really defended the 3 ball well in game number 2 when they beat up Indiana. And a Miami Heat team that so far this year has played 2 games, including getting absolutely thumped opening night by Orlando, came back and beat Charlotte Saturday night. When you look at the Miami Heat, they're shooting about 36.7%, it's 36.8% from 3. If you look at their 2 games, right, 116-97, it's 213 points, and then 220 points. Take the under with this game. It don't matter who plays for who. Knicks Miami is big, especially when the Knicks go to Miami, where basically the Knicks secretly, folks, have. I honestly think they really have 3 home arenas. 4: MSG, Barclays, Atlanta, Miami. The Knicks fans show up and show out in those spots. That's a pride game for Miami. Give me the under in that game. As long as it's in that 218.5 range, take the under. Last game, Oklahoma City and San Antonio. I honestly, folks, I just want to see Chemby and Chet. I ain't gonna lie. Like everything else can go by the wayside. I want to see those 2 guys go absolutely at it. So those are the games that we'll maybe talk about a little bit when we get here to Wednesday's podcast. We'll talk about some of the stuff, the Tuesday recaps. Remember, when we do Wednesday's podcast, we aired on Thursday. We'll preview Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now remember, folks, lines are going to move. So think about what I'm saying. I'm trying to get you nuggets to think about as lines start to come out. While we finish up the NBA, let me give you my top 10 players in the NBA coming into the season. I'm going to tell you right now, Kevin Durant's on the list. Kevin Durant's 11th. Someone had to go between LeBron, Steph, and KD. And that was KD. Numbers 10 through 6. Number 10, Steph Curry. I know he's injured, but you can't talk enough about what this guy's done for his career and the championships he's won, but he's in a situation that they are going downhill. Number 9, LeBron James. All hail to the king. Continues to defy Father Time. A guy that has the Lakers playing really good basketball and doing it all over the place. Number 8, Victor Wembanyama. I was going back and forth if he goes to this. And by the way, folks, not only do I not have Kevin Durant in my top 10, I don't have Anthony Davis either. This is hard to do a top 10 in the NBA. But I got Wemby at 8. I just think the things that he does is out of this world. I know he's not off to the start that we were expecting, but I think he's a top 10 talent, and that team will continue to grow. And as he continues to grow and get better and figure it out, I think the San Antonio Spurs are going to be a problem this year in the NBA. Number 7, Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards. Edwards and Tatum, 7-6 were close. But I put Ant 7 because Tatum's got the title. And Anthony Edwards, I think, has gotten better defensively. And Anthony Edwards, I think, that gives a lot more effort. I know his press conferences are kind of funny. But a guy, Anthony Edwards, that I really believe is a remarkable player. And I think he's starting to show maturity. Right now, scoring at about 27.7 points per game. Good for 12th in the NBA. Number 6, Jason Tatum. 33 points per game. Folks, the biggest thing that happened in this offseason that I want people to realize is Jason Tatum took the hitch out of his jumper. And I talked to Kevin Walsh about this on GTD last week. I don't think people understand when you have a hitch, you shoot on the way down, which is a line drive shot, which gives you less of a chance to make it. Tatum has fixed that hitch. He now shoots it at the top of his jump. His release is really pure. And right now he's shooting it at 49% from 3. Now, I'm not saying he's going to shoot at 49% from 3 for the season. But if he's at 42, 43%, Lord have mercy, look out below. Jason Tatum, right now, my number 6 player in the NBA. Number 5, Luka Doncic. Some people have Luka number 1. I know he's giving you 34 points per game. I know he's giving you 11 rebounds per game. I know. But I can't get behind Luka until I see defensive effort. Now, people are going to sit there and argue that he gives effort. I've seen lackadaisical attitude. I've seen missed rotations. And that is something as a coach I see. I can't move Luka above 5 until he does that, which leads me to 4. And this kind of went to that argument that I had in the preseason of my top 5 point guards. Number 4 is SGA. 28.7, 8.7 rebounds per game, 6.3 assists, 45% from floor. Now, he's got to shoot better from 3 to start the year, but he is a career 35% three-point shooter, only at about 30.4% to start the season. But he also has a ball in his hands. He's only turning it over less than 1.5 turnovers per game. Like, if you do better than a 4-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, that's ridiculous for someone who has the ball in his hands as much as he does. I think he continues to be better, get better. And the reason why he's also number 4 is I think they're the best team in the NBA. Now we get to the top 3, and this is where it gets difficult. Number 3, really difficult, Joel Embiid. One word only. Health. He hasn't played yet this year. You know, they're slow moving it back. I don't know if he's injured and he's taking it slow. I don't know if he doesn't want to play. There's this investigation. I'm not getting involved in all that mess. When he is right and he is healthy and playing, I think Joel Embiid may be the best player in the NBA. I really believe that. But he's never healthy enough. So I can't put him higher than 3 if the best type of ability is availability, and this guy is available less than the next 2 guys. Number 2, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis is already pissed off, but he's doing his job. 28.3, 12.3, 58% from the floor, 6.3 assists. I mean, what can you say about Giannis? Except that he's got Doc Rivers coaching him. And I think this is going to go bad. I think it's going to go bad in Milwaukee. I told people this. I'm sorry. They're 1-2, and they're walking into the Hornets' nest. Well, they're not the Hornets, but the Celtics, and the Celtics are going to blow their damn doors off. They're 1-2, but Giannis has nothing to do with that. Giannis was absolutely fantastic. Giannis Antetokounmpo, my number 2 player. Number 1, Nikola Jokic. Does it all. Another team struggling. We just talked about it, 0-2. But I'm not knocking the Joker for what he's brought to the table so far. At 28.5, 10.5, 8.5 assists. Him at about a 3.5 to 1 assist to turnover ratio. I'm sorry, 2 to 1 assist to turnover ratio. Bigs will have more of an assist to turnover. Their assist to turnover ratio will be down closer because of the fact the way Joker's used. He's done it all the right way. But it's the problem with everyone else. But you can't mistake that this guy's the best player in the league right now. Once again, my top 10 players in the NBA for the 24-25 season. Number 10, Steph Curry. Number 9, LeBron James. Number 8, Victor Wembanyama. Number 7, Anthony Edwards. Number 6, Jason Tatum. Number 5, Luka Doncic. Number 4, SGA. Number 3, Joel Embiid. Number 2, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Number 1, Nikola Jokic. Let me know. Tweet at me at Coach Young NJ and tell me what your thoughts are. I'm always curious to see what the viewing public thinks about lists like that. Let's end today's podcast by going to the W. New York Liberty WNBA champions. And boy, does the drama done start in the W. Christie Sides on Sunday decided to part ways with the Indiana Fever. And Christie Sides put out a tweet and say, you always leave it better than when you found it, when you got there. And that's so true about coaches. As a coach, you always want to be better with the team you had once you leave. And they struggled for a couple of years. But you can't mistake that team was arguably the third best team in the WNBA the second half of the year. You can't argue that team was going nowhere. They were, I think, 1-5, 1-6, and that lady turned that team around. So what did they do? They parted ways with her. Why? Because in the background, they were trying to get Stephanie White. And I told people from the jump, when I first heard about this, that Stephanie White made sense. Well, lo and behold, what happened a couple hours ago? Stephanie White and the Connecticut Sun have parted ways, allowing Stephanie White to now look for a new job. Now, you have to remember, folks, that all four teams that missed the playoffs are looking for head coaches. Atlanta, looking for a coach. Now we have Indiana, looking for a coach. You also have there's the expansion teams looking for a coach. It's 75% of teams, including Chicago, who didn't make the playoffs. It's an interesting time in the WNBA because people are looking at the fact how much this league has grown, and there is money to be made, and you got to win. So why would Stephanie White leave? Now, there's already rumors that Stephanie White's a finalist to go to both Chicago and Indiana. And the thing that sucks about Indiana is there was rumors about her being a finalist before that's one of the 3 choices she was looking at before she even stepped down from her job. And before even Christie Sides parted ways. So I didn't like that at all. And I thought Christie Sides, even though I've been critical of her, deserves some damn respect. But why is Stephanie White leaving Connecticut? Very simple, folks. DeWanna Bonner, free agent. Alyssa Thomas, free agent. Brianna Jones, free agent. Those are your 3 best players. Carrington, right? Your top defensive guard. Restricted free agent. That's 4 out of 5 starters. That means only Marina Mabry is on the roster for next year. Oh, by the way, they traded Marina Mabry. They got her from Chicago. Oh, they got Chicago's first-round pick, too. And they could have the worst practice facility in the WNBA. So if you're Stephanie White, you're like, damn, Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, if they resign her, Nalissa Smith, a first-round pick. Damn, I'd go leave too. I just didn't like how it was done. Stephanie White probably will be the next head coach at Indiana Fever. Remember, she coached Indiana before. Then she went to Vanderbilt as head women's coach and then ended up with Connecticut. Stephanie White, in my opinion, will be the next coach at Indiana Fever. They do get an upgrade over Christie Sides. I just don't like how it was handled. This has been your Betting Above the Rim podcast for October 28th. For all things sports gambling, download that Sports Grid app, pregame, in-game, postgame, props, predictions, and more from the very best in the sports gambling industry. Next podcast will be filmed on Wednesday, released on Thursday. We'll get into the games coming up this weekend. And Matt, I just decided if we did top 10 players, I'm going to give people my top 10 rookies for this upcoming season. For my producer, Matty George, Vinny, who does a great job with the graphics. Thank you, as always, for listening, folks. And please remember, always harder to be on Sports Grid. Good night. All right.